Hi, I'm Chris.
I'm Alex.
We're here at 380 Melvin Avenue in Hamilton. We are going for a walkthrough of this unique property that's available from
Hammercity REI. So basically we picked this up off market. This was actually listed on Kijiji. We saw the opportunity. Right off the bat, I realized that I can do a duplex conversion here, and I knew that the city would eventually allow for a third unit, a garden suite. So that detached garage is what kind of piqued my interest. We were able to negotiate very favorable terms on price. We had to close on it fairly quickly. So we closed on it January 2021 to do the duplex conversion, January 2021 through November.
So it took most of the year then.
It did take most of the year. We had to be aggressive. We were able to obtain this for $570,000. At the time, this was fantastic price. It still is in today's market. But because in order to obtain that price, we had to close on it fairly quickly. So we ended up sitting on it for about 3 months before we were able to get permits. So typical, you either get a good price and you close on it quickly, or if you want a longer delivery, then you end up paying more. We decided that we can sit on it. We did some demo. We did some things to get us started, but we weren't able to proceed very far until we got the permits. I think we got permits in May. By May, we actually got the permits for it.
Okay, so you get the property secured there in January.
Yeah.
And then May is when you get the permits, and then you start doing the work.
That's when the work actually. So during that time, we completed the renovation, rented it, and refinanced. We were able to get an appraisal at $1 million. 80% loan to value, $800,000 new mortgage, and we were only in for $740,000 all in acquisition, renovations plus holding costs. So we were able to do a perfect burn and pull out additional capital, an additional $50,000 that went towards renovating the garage.
When did you start the garden suite?
The garden suite, so again, we were only able to apply for permits for the garden suite once they passed the bylaws. So I think they passed the bylaws sometime towards the end of fall 2021. We applied for permits while we were completing this, but it took another 5 months or so to get the permit for the garden suite.
Paperwork, right?
That's right, that's right.
So I noticed here you got some beautiful landscaping work that's been done.
Yes.
Did that come with the house, or did you have to do that yourself?
Oh, we did that ourselves. This was not necessarily the initial plan, but we had to re-landscape the entire front yard as well as the backyard. Part of the converting the garden suite, we had to make a sanitary connection. So that's actually going from the corner of the garage right through here, and the connection is physically right here. That's where the sanitary has been connected into the main line outside the main dwelling. So all of this was basically a minefield. We also, in this process, upgraded the water line on the other side of the property. So there was a big trench on that side. So yeah, everything you see here is all new.
Was that something that you expected you had to do, or was that just as a result of that you started?
We kind of knew that we would have to do this. I was kind of hoping that it wasn't quite as intensive as it was. We basically ended up redoing the entire front yard as well as backyard. In that process, we were also able to build outdoor sitting space in the back for both the upper and the lower unit, as well as on the side for the garage. So now everyone has their own sitting area. Nice. So it only helped us add value to it, but no, it wasn't necessarily what I intended on doing.
Yeah. Well, let's go check out the unit.
Yep.
All right, look at this. This used to be a garage.
That's right, yeah. So yeah, we've turned this into a bachelor unit. We got everything you could need here. 3-piece bathroom, stand-up shower. We actually have mechanical room / laundry here, so stack laundry.
Nice.
We decided to go with, so one of the things that we actually did here is, in knowing that we're eventually going to convert this, when we did the duplex conversion, we upgraded the electrical service to 260 amp. That allowed us to use 60 amp upstairs, 100 downstairs in the main dwelling. So because of that, we did a gas-fired stove upstairs, but we saved 100 amp for the garage unit. So doing that, we were able to heat this with only electricity as well as cool it, and everything else is electric. So even the hot water tank, we didn't have to bring natural gas to the garage, which would have been more complicated.
Yeah, of course.
And that's the HRV unit, because our heating here is via ductless split as well as baseboard heater, so there's no circulation of air. So we in this process, you learn a few things. Because of the efficiency spray foam insulation, the garage is now so airtight. There's no air circulation, so they insist on putting in an HRV unit.
Obviously, that leads us to the kitchen.
That's right, yeah. This is, we initially thought that we'd have to do apartment size appliances, keeping it more compact, but then we looked at the design and we realized that we can put regular appliances. Like, it's actually sufficient space, so yeah, standard, everything, fridge, stove, electric, and obviously everything that goes with short-term rentals.
All right, so let's talk numbers. Let's get into some of the specifics here on the property.
Sounds good. So, acquisition of the entire property, 570. I think mentioned to you that we picked this up off market. It was listed on Kijiji, so we negotiated to 570 January 2021. We spent $170,000 in phase one. That's the duplex conversion. That includes the upgraded service, allowing for additional panel for this unit as well. So we incurred some cost there, knowing that we're going to benefit from some of these features here. So that was 170. Completion of November 2021. We were able to rent this out and get it appraised at $1 million. So that was the perfect burr. We had an $800,000 mortgage on this. We were in for 570 plus 170. We were in for 740. So we had about $60,000. We ended up, I think it was about $50,000 that we pulled extra out of the first phase burr that went towards the garage unit. Right? So fast forward to May when we got the permits for the garage unit. The cost to make this place livable. So this was all cinder block built. It had all the window cutouts, but obviously brand new windows all around, spray foam, the whole thing. It was $100,000 taxes in. We ended up spending, I think it was about another 40 some odd $1,000 in the landscaping to fix all the explosion that went out front. So that, that's applicable towards the entire property, the landscaping. And really the part that kind of still burns me the most is the $10,000 in development charges to the city to obtain the permit for this. This was actually far more expensive in permits than the main dwelling was to convert into a duplex.
Now, is that because this was a new type of permit, or tell me more about that?
There are developmental fees. There are all kinds of additional fees that, to be honest, I don't know. I paid it, and I didn't want to even go down the path of understanding what it is. But yes, it was all part of additional permits. I ended up spending a few $100s in a demo permit for the carport that I had in front of this garage. If I knew that I needed a permit, I would have demoed it prior to.
Because garden suites are something new to Hamilton area, right?
Exactly. So this is part of, I guess, Hamilton finally getting on track with the province mandate to create affordable housing increase, so allowing for these garden suites. So in theory, they allow for them, so that makes it easier to invest. But the costs associated to develop them, I'm unsure if that's actually worth it. So given today's market, the way things have slowed down, the prices have gone down, the $140,000 that went towards developing this garage unit, I'm not entirely sure that I would spend that money again right now. I'd almost rather use that money to acquire another property and do a duplex conversion. So again, it's a matter of evaluating at the time, because we were able to do a perfect burr and pull out additional equity out of the main dwelling. And there's a strategic partnership with a joint venture partner on this particular project where it makes sense to invest that money in this property. We know we're going to hold on to this long term. It makes sense to do this garage, but I wouldn't necessarily always recommend it. So, it's a function of what kind of financing you have, what are the plans with the JV partner, if there is a JV partner. So it's not necessarily just because you have the room you should do a garage conversion. And plus, I know for a fact that my application was one of the first that went into the city. I was one of the first that have obtained the permit, partially because I have adequate parking. There's been from my understanding, there's been a lot of other people that have applied for the garage conversion that got stuck due to lack of parking. But I can assure you there is nothing sexy about being the guinea pig on some of these projects, man.